Hello and welcome to this webinar, Getting Full Value from Sitecore Content Hub Operations, Project and Campaign Management with MRM. My name is Jennifer Johnson. I work out of Dallas in the United States for Horizontal. And with me is Girish Jain. He's out of our India offices. And we're both going to be talking to you today about Content Hub and Marketing Resource Management and centralized content operations. I'll be talking a little bit about content ops at the beginning, and Girish will be doing the demo at the end. So let's start talking about what are content operations and how are they defined. We talk about content operations as the people, processes, and technologies required to produce, distribute, and maintain content in an organization at scale. And I emphasize at scale because for a lot of our clients, they're interested in producing content in one software application and distributing it across channels, meaning perhaps to a website or to a kiosk or to a digital billboard. So, in order to facilitate this, we talk to clients about what's needed to operationally support that move. And like most consultancies, we talk about climbing a mountain. But when you overlay a maturity model across that mountain, we're really talking about taking people from the left column here of tactical publishing and moving them to a modular content reuse and enterprise content strategy over to the right. And if we're reaching that ideal state, the top of the mountain, we're really looking at content as an asset and something that we can plan, create, and orchestrate in order to reach the right people with the right message at the right time, in the right place, in the right context, and all the good stuff. So, how does Content Hub do this? And it's really about bringing all the lifecycle management of your marketing assets into one place. So I'll be talking a lot about roles when I talk about Content Hub, meaning if you're a designer, you have one set of jobs to do in the platform. If you're a content author, you have a completely different set of things you need to do. So when Girish and I are talking about MRM, just understand we're taking Content Hub's features and we're really talking about what a project manager would do within Content Hub to achieve total content lifecycle management. How do they deal with the tasks, the budgets, the resources necessary to move something through from beginning to end? And so MRM is marketing resource management. It is this part of the platform. And when we talk about the content flow in MRM, what we usually do from an implementation perspective is create a visualization of what a user's journey through an application to achieve a job to be done looks like. And so it usually looks at a top level, something like this, meaning the color coding is the role or the user in the platform. And then the gray cells are the jobs to be done. And we can use this to make sure that we align teams exactly around who's doing what, where, in what part of Content Hub, so that we can achieve our ultimate goal, which is at the end of the flow chart. How do we achieve omni-channel management so that we can take this content and distribute it across several different channels for several different purposes? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Girish for the demo, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you're not too interested in the typical life cycle of a project. And I will give it over to Girish.
Thank you, JJ. That was a pretty nice introduction of the MRM module and how it is important. Now I'll take you through the actual implementation on how MRM module would add value to your digital experience on how you create content, how you upload assets, and how they are managed out of Content Hub. Uh, so usually this is the screen that you see when you log in into Content Hub, and as a super user, you have lots of tabs and lots of navigations to do. So under the projects, a project tab on the navigation menu, you have the projects tab where as an super user or as an admin, I can create projects. So as an admin, I could administrator, I could see only the projects that I have created or have been assigned to, and as super user, I have access to all the projects. So now the projects usually have three types. One is a basic project, which follows a linear model. And then we have a multi-stage project where each a big size project could be broken down into smaller projects. So the output of one project would be an input for another project. And then we have the template option in case if you have created a project template and if you want to reuse it so that you could use it as again and again, and you don't have to create a project from scratch. In today's session, we would be talking about only a basic project. So I'll quickly create an project. So over here, as you could see, like I have the option of basic project, multi-stage project, and create from template. So in case when I create a basic project or a multi-stage project and I select it as a template, so this could be used as a reference for my future projects, and that would save me time if, for example, if my company, like the company is into launching a lot of brands or promoting a lot of campaigns, and all the campaigns have a similar structure from a project's perspective. So I could use those templates so that all the tasks are predefined, and then I don't have to recreate them. So I'll create a basic project. And then the start date, this could be anything like if you want to start it right away, or if it is something in the future, and save. So once the project is created, you see it's not started. So because the date is set into future, but I could still make it in progress if I want to. This is possible only because as I am a super user, I have all the rights to do it. So whenever you create a project, the first and foremost important thing is adding people to this project so that they could see this project or perform the task that they have been assigned to. So I have a few users that I would be requiring, a photographer and reviewer, because we would be taking into consideration the most basic use case of uploading the assets and then reviewing them and sending it to the DAM. But again, this is not the only thing that could be done in the MRM module. You could extend the MRM module with you could create content, you could create products, and they could be assigned as tasks. So under the content tab, this is the tab where all the content that is associated with the project is visible. And from here, you have the option of adding the existing content that is already available in Content Hub. For example, this is the existing content. Or if you want to add existing assets, you could do it, or you could upload new files from here. So this view would definitely hold all the content that is associated with this specific content. So the next is the task tab, where like as a campaign manager or project manager, I'll be assigning tasks to the members of my project, like creating the assets, reviewing the assets, or creating using those assets and creating products, or using that using those assets and creating content for it. So I'll quickly create a task of create content, upload the images for campaign launch. So I have assigned it to my user as a photographer. So in Content Hub, you have an option of either sharing the task between if you have a team of people, and you could share it as a shared task. So whoever user, whoever is available in your team can take the task, or you could make it as an individual task. So I'll be selecting it as an individual task. Then the next option is send time. So over here, if you want to send it send the task to the team member on a later date, you could select a later date and the appropriate date and time when it needs to be triggered, or you could select now when the task would be sent to the right user immediately, and he would receive an email notification that a task has been assigned and he needs to work on it. Then we have depends on the predecessor. So like as I mentioned, like but the creation of the product depends upon the creation and the review of assets. Once the assets are uploaded into Content Hub and are reviewed and are appropriate to use, then only I'll be able to use them for creating the products. So the creation of the product task would be dependent on the review of the assets. So once the review of assets is completed, then the task would start get auto assigned to the product owner or the product content creator. So in this way, you could the project manager can automate the task by linking them, so that the once a particular task is completed, the input would go for the other task and it is auto triggered. So that would also make the process and the flow easy, and depends on the project start. Like in case if the project manager wants to create all the tasks in advance, and then once the project date has started, so the tasks are auto triggered. So these are the options that are available, but now I'm selecting as now. So in case like in this task, if I want to add any content that is available on the content tab, I could select it. And in case if not required, I could do it. Like I can ignore it. And in similar way, I also have this option of manually adding the content. But as of now, my project is all empty and we do not have any task. So I'll just create the task. And for quick access, I have already logged in as photographer in one of my other windows. So over here, this is the view of the photographer. So when the photographer logs in and looks at the task, so over here, as you could see, he has uploaded the images for campaign launch. A task has been assigned. So once he clicks on it, the appropriate user has the option of either accepting it, uh, okay, sorry, wrong window. So this is the view of the photographer. And over here, he has the option of either accepting it or declining it. So for this use case, we'll be accepting it. So once the user accepts it, here you have the option of uploading the assets. Over here also you have this option of uploading the new assets into Content Hub or adding existing items. So I'll upload new files. And we don't have any limit of number of assets that could be uploaded. So I'm uploading 25 files. So it would take a few minutes before the renditions are generated, and like they are bulk of assets, so it would take some time. Over here, if you could see, like this view of the asset details page on the project module is a little different. But again, like as you know, like in Content Hub, you have the option of configuring and modifying as and how you require. So in case if you want to add any other properties other than that are existing, you could always do it. And once if the user if the data population is completed, the user could mark it as done and add the appropriate comments. So once it is marked as done, automatically a notification email is sent to the project manager that the task has been complete. So if we come back to the project manager view, so if you could see, the task would be marked as complete. It is marked as done. So like in the DAM module, what we do once the assets are uploaded and the metadata is populated, what we do is we send the task for review. So what I'll do is like I'll just send a couple of images. I'll select a couple of images and I'll create and review task. So one different thing that we have in the MRM module is a local review and a parallel review. So in local review, it follows a linear flow, like create and then it is assigned to an individual user for review. But with parallel review, the asset is sent to multiple users at a time. So this is something in case if you any of your clients have this requirement, so you could suggest this approach where you could have parallel review of your assets. Review the following assets, and I'll be assigning this task to reviewer. It would be an individual task, and the send time is now. And over here, I'll include selected content. So the content that the images that I have selected on the content page would be sent as an attachment to this ticket, and the reviewer would know which images to review. So the task has been created and it is marked as assigned. So over here, this is the reviewer's login. So under the tasks, over here, as you could see, the task has been assigned. The user gets the option to either accept it or decline it. Once the user accepts it, I would like to show that the status on the main project page, okay, it's logged out, would automatically change to in progress. Over here, if you could see, once the reviewer has accepted the request, the status has changed to in progress. So now so if you could see, there are three options available under the thumbnails. Either approve it, either send it for rework, or reject it. So what I'll do is like I'll approve one of those assets and reject one of those assets. So save, I have added my comments and done. So it's done. Now let's get back to the original view. To the project manager's view. So over here, my assets are uploaded and reviewed. So what I'll do next is like these are specific to the DAM module. So I need these are specific. These are specific to the MRM module and not available on the DAM page. So for them to be available on the DAM page, I need to select the required assets, and I can click on send to DAM. So over here, like out of the box, this button would send the assets to the create page. So there it will again go through the regular state flow, regular flow for the DAM module of create, review, and approve. But again, if you want to skip that, so over here on this button, you could change the configuration to final life cycle status as approved, and the assets from the DAM from the MRM module would be directly available on the assets module. And with that, you will not have to go through the duplicate process of again creating updating the metadata and reviewing it. So this is on the assets part. We haven't extended it to the CMP and the PCM module, but again, this is also possible. You could create your content or the products out of MRM module, so that it is more of an streamlined process. And you could also include all your custom entities over here, if any are defined. Other than that, we have budgets as well. So as you all know that a campaign is campaigns always have a budget that needs to be spent. So you could create your budget, and I have a budget of $1,000 for promoting this campaign. So and it is for brand marketing. So all these drop downs are extendable as and how for your use cases you require. So this is for media, and expense type is operational expense. So once I have created it, I would change the view as a pivot table. So this would give me a ledger view of it, and I could add another item, like this is an actual cost expense. I have spent $100 on the brand marketing, and save. So if you could see, the amount is auto calculated over here, and it would give me a holistic view of what my budget is, and how much I have spent, and how much balance is remaining, so that I don't have to track anything anywhere else. I could have it in Content Hub. And the other important thing is monitoring the utilization of your resources. So over here, for this particular project, I have added a reviewer and a photographer. So over here, I would see how much are they utilized. Are they underutilized, overutilized? So this would give me a holistic view of the teammates I have in my project, and this would make sense. Like if I have a larger team of 15 to 20 people working on multiple tasks, so that would make it easy for me. So I hope this walkthrough would have helped you in understanding the value of the MRM module.
I had a couple of questions, Girish, on you said you had to extend Content Hub to make it work with the product entity and the content entity. Can you dig in for non-administrators and explain exactly what that means? Because I think from a role perspective, if we're doing content lifecycle management, we're assuming all the pieces of content are sort of managed through MRM out of the box, but there was some light configuration work you had to do to make it work. Can you walk through what that looked like?
Yes. So basically, like on all your schema definitions page, you have an ellipsis button where you could just click on it, and you could enable the project module for the specific definition. So that would automatically define the relation between the project module and the respective definition. And then you would have to give access to the create and detail pages at the appropriate buttons, like over here, like on the content tab, on the task tab, so that the creation option is available.
And those things are roles for the administrator or the configurer to do. It's not anything that anyone just picking up Content Hub should try.
Yes. So this I would advise like this is something that the configurer should do, and like when an actual implementation is happening, so you could identify the use cases and what definitions needs to be linked to the MRM module, and they could be associated likely.
And because we have so many customers who start with digital asset management with Content Hub, project management sometimes isn't in scope for what an implementation for Content Hub looks like. What advice would we give clients around getting project management buy-in or the campaign managers to buy into doing this part in Content Hub? Because I think that's going to be the dilemma for most customers is they're using other software systems for that, and that can integrate with Content Hub. If that's a requirement, we can make that work. But it's also an option to bring those operations into Content Hub. And so, I guess I'm asking out loud a leading question. What's the right way to kind of think about it from an operational perspective so that we can get buy-in for what's necessary to make it work?
Yeah. So like your question is appropriate. Like most of the clients start with the DAM module, but as I showed, like the DAM module has those create, review, and approval process, which could be offered out of MRM module. Like you could create it, then the MRM module offers you a parallel review, or you could have a parallel review, which is not available out of the box in the DAM module. And then the assets that are created in the project can be sent to the DAM module so that they could be accessed in a similar way. And one other thing is like if MRM module is not used, so the DAM would act as any other repository where anything and everything would be dumped without identifying or noticing. Like if this asset is actually needs to be in Content Hub, or it is some obsolete asset that has come in because there was no check was done. As I showed, like once the campaign manager actually creates an task to upload, creates an task for the photographer to upload the assets, so the photographer knows that, or the designer knows, like these are the assets only that needs to come into Content Hub. So that would make it
easier. And I think
yes.
that's what we're trying to drive to. It's like, because there's so many different ways to integrate with Content Hub, and digital asset management, if done in Content Hub, means that we're being a central source of truth for all the files and documents. That can be very, very confusing for teams and can introduce a lot of security requirements in order to make it work from a UI perspective. But if you can bring this stuff into MRM, you can control that visibility by role, and it makes a lot easier for the teams to do the things they need to within Content Hub, essentially.
Yes. Yes. So like it becomes that only the assets that needs to be in Content Hub, and that would pretty much define the definition of central source of truth, because it has gone through the approval review process, and nobody is just uploading the assets because it's on their local computer of their, or they're on their SharePoint. But again, they are uploaded only because the product owner of Content Hub has requested that these assets needs to go in. And that also helps in segregation based on the projects. Projects does not need to be only based on campaign. It could be based on your brands or based upon your geographies. So you could have a project manager for each geography, and he would moderate like what assets are coming from that particular geography and how are they used. So
And then we're bringing in the DAM assets into a workflow rather than trying to have the teams work around the digital asset management ecosystem in order to perform their jobs.
yes.
Yeah. All right. That's a good exclamation point for this, because we're not even getting into AI and why it's necessary to have a centralized content strategy around that. That'll be webinar 962 on, right, Garish? There's a lot to dig into there. So thank you guys so much for joining. And Garish, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.